I need your guys' help solving a problem. I go to build Betor last night and then I very quickly realized there is 3 very viable, very different builds here. So today I'm going to list the 3 builds I have in mind, explain the strategies, and I want you guys in the comments down below to tell me which one you guys want me to fully flesh out and post to the channel. But before we do that, if you guys want a free $15, you can click on that whatnot link in the description down below. You can also get 20% off all of your Talarian library proxies by using code DT4D. Now let's get right into what Betor does. First of all, this dragon is extremely unique and I'm in love with this strategy. He has lifelink and then he says whenever you gain life or at the end step, you get to put 1/1 counters on another creature equal to the amount of life you've gained that turn. And then you get to reanimate a creature equal to the amount of life you've lost this turn. So ideally you want to mix a life gain and life loss strategy, which I'm super on board with. We are going to talk about a lot of very good cards today and they're going to be good in any version we talk about, so stay till the end. We're going to talk about generically good stuff you just want to shove in this deck. But without further ado, let's get into the 3 strategies I found while brewing this commander. The first strategy is the Pinata strategy. Now what is a Pinata? It's this cool little thing we hang on a tree, then beat with a stick, and then boom, candy explodes everywhere. In Magic the Gathering, it's kind of the same thing, except we put a bunch of 1/1 counters on pretty looking ladies, then we brutally murder those pretty looking ladies for more pretty looking ladies. I kind of like that instead. Right? This is also going to be amazing because we're going to pair it with a bunch of creatures that gain us life whenever creatures enter the battlefield, and that's going to trigger our commander, allowing us to put more 1/1 counters on these pretty ladies that we're then going to sacrifice again. We can use greater good effects to even draw a ton of cards this way. There is no shortage of good ways to utilize this strategy, and it's a little lower to the ground CMC wise, so we don't have to really wait to the late game to get this strategy going. It gets online a little bit faster, and honestly, I think this is one of my favorite strategies, and I do want to build this deck regardless. Some cards of note for this strategy are Alinda the Duskrose, Felisa Fang of Silverquill, and Alinda's Hierophant. These are going to be our pinatas, so to speak, that we want to put as many 1/1 counters on as possible. A lot of them trigger whenever something happens as well, so it's not just going to be our commander triggering these. Like let's say Alinda's on the battlefield and then we pop one of these other girls while an Illis Elcor is on the battlefield. We're going to gain a ton of life here, which is not only going to help out with our commander and putting more 1/1 counters on these girls, but additionally they're just going to trigger themselves, putting a lot of 1/1 counters on themselves. So you can kind of double up on the amount of creatures you're sacrificing every single turn, and it gets insane, especially when we have sack outlets like Carrion Feeder and Bartholomew on the battlefield, because now we can sacrifice all of those tokens we just generated to make another massive creature. Then we sack it to any of our sack outlets that care about power, like Ten the Pest, making even more creatures, drawing us cards, gaining us life, and drawing us cards. Again, this deck just feeds itself with every single thing it does, and I'm excited for it. Even Warren the Soul Trader is amazing with our Illis Elcor effects, because now we're paying life to generate treasure tokens, but again, we just gained all of that life with Illis Elcor, and that's going to trigger our commander's life loss ability as well. Another cool thing about the going with this strategy is we really don't need to lose a lot of life to reanimate something like Alinda the Duskrose. She is only 4 CMC here, so it's going to be perfect. I love cards like Pitiless Plunderer and Chatterfang in this deck as well, because the token generation is going to be insane. Not only do these 2 cards kind of go infinite, they're kind of disgusting here. Additionally, just the mana we're going to produce off of Pitiless Plunderer and the tokens we're going to produce off of Chatterfang are not going to be okay. Last but not least, I'll leave you with this. We can even include funny cards like Gitrog Ravenous right here to sacrifice our Alinda. Now we're even drawing more cards, putting lands into play. This deck just can be really silly, and I'm excited for it. This next strategy is for all of you Timmy players out here. Mass reanimation. There's a lot of creatures that have an ability kind of like our commander, like Rudolfo or Celestine. They allow us to reanimate creatures based on the life we gained each turn. Very cool, and we're going to pair that with a very swingy strategy that has us gaining a ton of life and then paying a ton of life to reanimate bombs. And then we want those bombs to stay on the battlefield, and we want to make them bigger with our commander's ability to put 1/1 counters on them. So instead of sacrificing them for a ton of value, we're just going to make them as big as possible and reanimate the most meaningful creatures every turn consistently with multiple reanimation effects. Take Reanimate for instance. This card's extremely busted because we're able to reanimate a creature, pay life equal to that creature's mana value, and then at end step, we're able to reanimate another creature because we lost a lot of life because we reanimated a giant creature. Then you're gonna have stuff like Verdant Sun's Avatar to allow you to gain all of the life back. Just very swingy, very fun. Again, for you Timmy players. Some cards of note for this strategy are Carmen, Celestine, and Rudolph. Again, amazing reanimation cards that kind of synergize with our commander. We're also using Reanimate and Phyrexian Delver. Not only does this give us the opportunity to lose a lot of life, it gives us the opportunity to reanimate something broken. Villas is also a card we want to play here. Not only is it an amazing bomb, but it also gives us a way to consistently lose life while generating value. Verdant Sun's Avatar is going to help us gain all the life while we're losing all of this life. We just want ways to lose life while milling, so Underrealm Lich seems perfect here. Not only does it have a pay for life ability we can activate multiple times, but additionally it just mills us very consistently while we are drawing cards. Tevish Gloom Summoner is honestly one card that I might suggest for all of these builds, because at the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, you may pay X life, where X is the amount of life you gained. So as long as we're gaining life, we have a way to pay life. And you do want to stack this above your commander's trigger, that way we lose a lot of life. And then, oh yeah, also it gives you a giant demon equal to the amount of life you pay. Super solid. There's also tons of cards like Kami of Whispered Hopes and Selvala Heart of the Wilds. I do want to just make massive creatures here, so while we're doing that, we might as well be able to generate a ton of mana. That way, we're able to actually cast these giant bombs from our hand, like Beledros Witherbloom. Not only does this guy have a pay 10 life ability to untap all of your lands, but additionally, he generates pests that we can sacrifice to gain a little bit of life. Not really the goal here, but again, he's a giant bomb that gives us a ton of value. Doom Whisperer is also perfect here. Not only does he have a broken pay life ability to surveil, which again, I think we could put this in every version because he's so good. I mean, this guy just finds us the broken creature we want to reanimate, and then we get to reanimate it because we paid all that life. Lord of the Forsaken and 6 would kind of be a cool combo in this deck as well. We can kind of just discard a land, give something retrace, and then pay a lot of life to sack it or cast it from our graveyard using Lord of the Forsaken, and that's just going to allow us to again reanimate something else because we paid all of that life. Another card that I'm not convinced is good, but I am convinced I want to play it in a deck, and I think this is the deck, is Mortorion. I always say that name wrong, but he's super cool. For 6 mana, you get a 5/6 that allows you to create a massive army equal to the amount of life you've lost. You do have to pay mana into this, but I'm more than happy to pay mana into this to generate a massive board state of 2/2s with Menace. Another thing we need for this strategy to work is mass lifelink. While we're reanimating these massive creatures, we should probably be beating our opponents in the face, gaining life, because we're going to be losing a lot of it to reanimate these bombs. The next strategy that I thought would be super cool mixes explosive life gain with discard effects and Dark Confidant effects. I just thought it'd be super cool to draw a creature card, lose life equal to that creature's CMC, and then we instantly discard it to just put it onto the battlefield for free at end step. This one would really focus on our commander's ability. We want to copy that ability using our Strionic Resonator effects. We want to use discard effects to get those creatures in the graveyard, and then we want to use powerful die triggers. That way we can get them again and again and again. Stuff like Grey Merchant of Asphodel and Kakusho the Evening Star are going to be our big game enders here, and they're going to keep us in the game, honestly, because those Dark Tutelage effects can lose us a ton of life if we're not really paying attention to the life gain. That's why this is also going to be an explosive life gain build. We are trying to get as much life gain as possible. We're playing other creatures in the deck that are going to gain us or get us 1/1 counters equal to the amount of life we gained. And we're kind of just trying to make our board big. This deck is going to focus on more efficient life loss effects like Dark Confidant, Dark Star Augur, and Dark Tutelage. I even like Stronghold Arena and Black Market Connections here. Honestly, Black Market Connections can probably get it in any deck. Pact Weapon is something unique to this strategy strategy as well. That way we don't care about the life we are losing. Ripples of Undeath for some mill and life loss. Again, you could probably put this in any strategy. Staff of Completion, very good here. And then we're going to want to use our mass life gain effects like Lathiel and Willow Dusk. This is going to be very good to just put a lot of 1/1 counters on our creatures. For that reason, we are probably still going to run the Kami of Whispered Hope creatures that allow us to add mana equal to our mana pool, just because they're just very good here. I also want to include a lot of lifelink creatures like Sarah's Ascendant. That way we can put more 1/1 counters on them, allowing us to gain even more and more life. Gray Merchant and Kakusho, again, very good win cons here. I'm also including Blossoming Bog Beast because, again, we do want to gain a ton of life here. So if we drop something like Gray Merchant and then attack with all of our life linkers while Bog Beast is on the battlefield, that's right, we're just going to win the game. Kind of awkward because the lifelink creatures don't count for the life gain equal to the damage we're dealing. This is the deck where you're going to see all those cards that say equal to the amount of life we gained, because we are just going to gain a ton of life, and it's going to be more of your explosive, massive turn deck than your, reanimate bunch of big creatures or your aristocrat strategy. Again, don't forget to let me know in the comment section down below which one of these strategies you want me to focus on when I finally flesh out the deck for the entire channel. I'd be happy to build any of these, so again, vote down below. With that being said, that brings us to the end of the video. Shout out to all of my high contributing patrons: Irrelevant, Excessum, Chicken Salad, The Professional Heal, and Creator. You guys rock. I hope this helped everybody in their deck building endeavors, and I will see you in the next one.